Hi, this is Shui with a review of the latest Anta basketball shoes. This is for Rajon Rondo. It's the rr6. Yeah, it's already the 6th edition. Anta has been making signature shoes for Rajon Rondo for the longest time. The first one was pretty lame looking. It looked like a blatant ripoff, cheap knockoff basketball shoe that ripped off certain design aspects of certain very unpopular shoes, something very mainstream like the LeBrons of that time. It wasn't really attractive. It seemed really unevenly, unusually angular, and it had this weird cushioning called some sort of a jelly gel thing that didn't really work out. It was also just around the midsole and not inside it, so didn't really serve a purpose. But even back then, Anta did have a good foam midsole. They did not have any specific special chemical project going on to come up with some special names, but they kept at it. They have now the A shock foam and the A flash foam. A flash foam has been used in the main signature models for Klay Thompson, the KT series. The A shock foam has been used in the recently released Anta basketball, which is I guess it could be modified to a player exclusive, but it doesn't have any particular player's name on it, called the Shock the Game 4.0 Crazy Tide. The Crazy Tide had the A shock foam, the KT5 had the A flash foam, which an updated version of that, and the rr6, Rajon Rondo's face can be seen on the box. It does look like that animated turtle figure, not the Ninja Turtles, but some classic animated turtle figure. But anyway, yeah, it's good that they do that with the box. It's pretty cool. I like how they try to come up with a way to put two R's within one R. Because originally Rondo had this two R's overlapping together like the Daredevil logo. That's just begging for, I guess, copyright lawsuits or whatnot, because Rolls-Royce logo. And Rondo has it tattooed at the back, so maybe he stands a chance to win that trial or case. Who knows? But anyway, Anta didn't want to take any chances, and plus this logo looks way better than that lazy Rolls-Royce logo. The rr6, that's hard to pronounce, rr6. I love the design. It's definitely a departure from the KT5, which looked like it was copying a little bit too much of the design aspects of the Curry 6. So this is definitely a nice little departure from that. But it does have certain elements that we've seen in the hardened 3s. But this is better than the hardened 3s because although it's that one piece upper booty, it can be a little tight like scuba diving gear, but it's angled in such a way that you can slide your foot in and it will expand a little bit. You just need just a little bit of a tug and you can slide your foot in. It's way better than the hardens where you actually have to tug both sides up and split the mouth open hard. Inside you have these little peanut-shaped pillows that provides very nice and firm, nice and soft support and cushioning around the pad, or soft padding around your ankles and the Achilles without providing any type of chafing or irritation. So that's nicely ergonomically designed. It's already got a heel cup inside and it's got an additional heel clutch on the outside with that RR logo. The midsole, of course, is the A flash foam. The A shock foam used in the Crazy Tide, I gave it a lot of praise. But the problem with that was it's soft. But you need substantial level of thickness to enjoy that softness, like a cloud foam type of softness. And it had decent amount of cushioning on the heel, the Crazy Tides. But on the forefoot, it was very low to the ground. I thought I felt that minimal level of low to the ground cushioning, but the more I played in it, the more I felt like there was really nothing much going on the forefoot. I guess maybe it bottomed out, or maybe most of the cushioning job was done by the thick Ortholite insole. Well, this one doesn't come with an Ortholite insole. The insole is very light and flaky. It's sort of like a very light, puffy, super low density EVA. It feels like a cross between an EVA and polyurethane, a very flaky, light polyurethane. It's really soft and nice. But this does not provide that level of additional delusion or illusion of having an extra layer of cushioning like the Ortholite insoles do. These actually mold to the shape of your foot, and that's pretty much it. It does not provide that much additional illusion of having an extra level of cushioning. So it's nice, and the cushioning itself, the midsole it's really really a good upgrade from the previous 8 flash foams. It's very soft. It's softer than KT5, but it does not give you that feeling of somewhat of an ache, or I guess you feel some tightness in your ankles or your calves after playing in some really soft shoes. Fasciitis, yeah, plantar fasciitis. You could experience that if the cushioning is too mushy, but this does not have that problem compared to the Crazy Tide, which was way mushy. This was as mushy as that, but it actually helped me feel fresh while I'm playing throughout. So this is a nice balance of that soft to the touch. I mean, it feels soft when you step on it. You feel it cradling your foot, but at the same time, it's resistant enough to make sure it's not sinking. It's not affecting your providing some additional muscle fatigue in any sense. So that's good. That's good cushioning. And on the forefoot, there's also a decent level of amount of A-flash foam cushioning. The KT4s had very little to minimal or non-existent. It felt non-existent on the forefoot. KT5 actually did a good job of that, and this feels like a slight upgrade from the KT5 even, because the KT5 is a smooth ride. It's soft and smooth. This it's plush, soft, and it rebounds. You can feel the foam returning that energy. So yeah, if you want to feel lower to the ground, KT5. If you want maximum cushioning, I say the rr6 does the job. Personally, I feel they could have put a little bit more on the forefoot. I would prefer that, because you do spend a lot more time adding pressure on your pivot point and toeing off and whatnot when you're playing. Well, of course, heel cushioning is just as important, though. That's just my little complaint. But it does feel better in terms of the midsole cushioning that you can feel with your foot, because like the Peak basketball shoes, they're excellent. They use a wonderful type of foam cushioning called Tai Chi, but they neutralize that by having these spring plates right at the bottom of your foot, and it separates you from the cushioning. So it's evenly distributing the force, but it's not providing you that soft, plushy cushioning that cradles your foot. I mean, it's good. You can put carbon plate on the heel so that the cushioning is, the shock is dispersed. But on the forefoot, you can't have it. That's why the Nike runners, the Kipchoge's runners from Nike's, Alpha Flies and Vapor Flies, they have a carbon plate system where it goes right at the bottom of your foot, and then it goes down so that it's at the bottom right above the outsole. So you feel the cushioning on the forefoot. So what they did here is not similar to the Vapor Flies, but they've actually have the carbon plate on the floor at the bottom, right on top of the outsole. So the midsole is in contact with your foot without anything hindering your cushioning. So that definitely helps compared to the Peak basketball shoes, where they keep putting the plastic right at the bottom of your foot, and you just negate the fact that you have an excellent cushioning on the midfoot or the midsole. So yeah, that's that. The sizing, I would say go true to size. It's a little bit more roomier. It has a little bit more width than the KT5. KT5 actually had a little bit of a pinching sensation around the pinky, because they had a little bit of a focus level of stitching or embroidery or something here in the pinky. So I would advise you, if you have problems wearing true to size Kyrie's or Kobe's, you need to go up a full size for KT5. But for this, it's nice. I mean, if you have really narrow feet, you might even want to go down half a size. But I would say mostly go true to size, and it'll fit you just fine. The lacing system is a little bit interesting. It's a bit of a locking mechanism. When you pull it, it stays there. So if you want to release the loop, you have to pull all of them out individually to loosen the laces. It's good if you want a firm lockdown. If you like, once you pull one segment, it stays there. If you like that, go ahead. You'll love it. But for me, I prefer it to not really lock down crazy. Just go with the flow. The traditional method, it just works fine for me. So it takes a bit of energy, because it even takes a bit of energy to pull them up and to release them or loosen them. So it's a bit of work. So not my cup of tea, but some people might prefer this. Because there's a bit of a room on the forefoot, I'm going to have to punch in some extra holes here to tighten it up a little bit there. Breathability, it's actually quite an improvement from the previous anta models, because even though they had this fly-knit type of materials, what they did was they do put another layer of a neoprene inner booty type of thing on the inside the shoe, so it gets pretty stuffy and it defeats the purpose of having this knit material. What they did was they cross embroider a little bit on the forefoot area, so it's a little bit tighter but at the same time flexible. Breathability is not that great here, but what they did was from here on, yeah, the one piece upper only goes from here to there, so this part is just a knit. You can actually feel, I can actually see my hand. I can actually see my hand, and it's quite visible there. Yeah. So this part is, yeah, you can see my, can you see my shadow? The lighting doesn't really work that way. But so anyway, there's a huge area of ventilation or breathability here, so that's good. And it's not that heavy. Crazy Tide was pretty heavy. KT5 is lighter than this, but this is also not that crazy heavy. For a size 9.5, it weighs about 460 grams, so not too bad, and it doesn't feel that heavy. That's what's important. The Outrigger is here, and it gets the job done. Sometimes the Outrigger doesn't really work, because even if you have it, it's too flimsy and the midsole is too soft. It will just go in. But this one, there's a little bit of a chunky material here to make sure it's not folding all the way when there's compression here. So it actually gets the job done. But personally, I would have preferred a little bit more of a, maybe of a TPU coating or something thicker here. Maybe a little bit more. But this is not too bad. Better than the KT5s in terms of the Outrigger and the anti-inversion ankle rolling mechanism there. The outsole pattern seems quite simple, but it actually works well. This is herringbone done right. Nowhere near as bad as the copy and paste lazy herringbone pattern that's used in a lot of Adidas models. It's good. Immediately out of the box, it's got a good bite to it. KT5, Crazy Tide, and rr6, they all have excellent traction. I would say KT5 is good for dusty court. It doesn't really pick up dust, but at the same time, KT5s on a pristine court, it's not in any ways better than playing on a dusty court. So it's multi-purpose. KT5 is multi-purpose, but it doesn't have as much of a bite as the rr6 or the Crazy Tides. So this is a nice little in-betweener.